So today we are going to be doing our November native plant garden tour. And I have waited till the very end of November to do this video because the weather has just been horrid. We've had rain, we've had sleet, we've had snow. And so I'm going to squeak this little video in for the very last one of this season. We're going to talk a little bit about winter interest and what to expect from these plants. And then we'll start fresh again next year. So let's get right to it. Thanks so much for watching. Here's our obedient plant, and all of the seeds are pretty much gone. I got a whole bunch that I was able to share with people, and then it looks like most of the seeds have kind of been eaten up, or maybe there's a few left. Either way, there will be some winter interest with this plant here. These will stand up tall for most of the winter season. Over here is our smooth blue aster. It's a little hard to see, but we've got some seeds here, and these will be delicious for the little birds that will come by. And if this was a little bit more of an established plant in the garden, it would look really great over the winter. But since it's a little sparse, you can barely see it. But as it grows over time, it's going to look awesome, even through the winter months. Here we have our Serviceberry. It's about 3-4 feet tall right now. All of the leaves have fallen off. There's a couple kind of stragglers hanging on over here, but this will have some nice branch structure over the winter months. These few twigs over here are what is left of our pussy willow plant. We propagated this plant last fall and it did really well. It grew new branches. We've even got some evidence here of some new buds that are here ready for the spring already. So I have hope for this guy. This was a really cool experiment where I just propagated it in water. So I'll put a link to that little video here as well. But fingers crossed he can live through the winter and grow even bigger and better next year. Funny enough, look at what's green. This is garlic mustard, which is doing just fine finding little nooks and crannies to survive in my garden. So that's lovely. This is an invasive plant that we want to get rid of, and I just didn't even pull out the roots there. So I will do a better job when I turn off the video, but I'm going to try, I'm going to try to get rid of this guy because we want none of this in the yard. Over here under the leaves, we've got some Foamflower. It's looking really good despite the very dry year that we had. We kind of pushed this plant to its limit, but lots of new growth and it's still even looking a little green. So I'm going to give it a little bit more light, move some of these leaves so it can kind of get a little bit more sunlight before the snow comes and covers us all. These few twigs that are kind of standing up here are what is left of our Solomon seal. This guy did really well this year over the dry summer, and now it's still standing up. So we might even get a little bit of winter interest here as well. Fingers crossed it sticks around even after the snow comes. This is our New England Aster. It's about 5 feet tall or so at its highest point, and this is a great plant for winter interest. Now this is just a young plant, probably about 3 or 4 years or so, and look at it, it's already looking great. We've got lots of little seed heads, which are just so cute. Look at them, aren't they adorable? These little puffs. The birds will get to enjoy these over the winter as well. Over here, we've got our butterfly weed. So this is a little bit of winter interest. You can see that all of these seed pods have opened up and I've lost all the seeds. So I did collect some. So I was very lucky to collect some and be able to share with friends. And then others, they were lost in the wind. So hopefully my neighbors will enjoy those in their gardens and they won't get picked as weeds. Fingers crossed. Here we have our little Bluestem grass. Now you might have a hard time seeing it with the distraction of all the leaves in the background, but it is so pretty. It's got kind of like a little bit of a rosy stem to it. It's got like almost a dusty rose color that I just love. This has been my biggest surprise this year. I really love this plant and I'm really looking forward to seeing it kind of establish in this part of our garden near the front. So it'll look great for everyone to enjoy as well. Over here beside our little Bluestem, we've got our Lanceleaf Coreopsis. We've got some green going on over here still, so it's still pulling in that energy from the sun. And then here are the little seed heads. We'll leave here for the birds. And if it drops some seeds too, then even better. We'll get more Lanceleaf Coreopsis in this part of the garden. Over here in our boulevard garden, we've got our prickly pear cactus. And to be honest, it's looking kind of sad. It's looking kind of wrinkly. a little bit unhappy, but I'm kind of thinking this is just the normal phase of this plant before it goes into the winter months. So fingers crossed it does really well over the winter and comes back even better next year. Also in our boulevard garden, we've got our black-eyed Susans. Now these guys were planted from seed this year and we've already got some blooms. So hoping that they will have some seeds dropping and then we'll have some more black-eyed Susans in this part of the garden. And if not, then they'll just be food for the birds over the winter as well. So over here, we've got a few little stalks left from our wild blue lupine. And as you can see, they are hollow. So we're gonna leave them here just in case little bees might like to use them as a nesting site. And then if you were following along, all of the seeds have fallen in this area, which I was hoping to collect them and share them with people, but that didn't happen. I wasn't quick enough. They all fell. So fingers crossed we get a whole bunch of it over here next year. We've got a little bit of green left in our Prairie Smoke over here. It did great this year, despite our super drought. It seemed to be fine. We didn't get any flowers, but hoping that it's just kind of building the energy down into the roots of this plant. And then next year we'll get a whole bunch of those pretty wispy pink flowers and seed heads that we love. So over here, hiding amongst the leaves, we have our wild Columbine plant. Most of the leaves have dropped, but you can see we've even got some new growth here, even into this late part of November. Very exciting. And I also want to say that I did get rid of all of the cultivars that I have of this plant. I had a few cultivars in my gardens, and these can actually hybridize with this native variety and throw off the whole genetic system. So if you have any cultivars of wild Columbine, also the lupines, they can cause some problems. So you might want to consider getting rid of them if you're really trying to focus on native plants in your garden. So just before I go, I wanted to show you all of the new seeds that I'm going to be planting today in the very end of November. The ground is not frozen, so you can still squeeze them in there. There is still time. And I wanted to say thank you because most of these seeds have been given to me from other people who are into native plant gardening and have these plants in their yards. And I have to tell you, this is kind of contagious. Once you get into it, you get into it hard. So fair warning for you all, but yeah, I can't get enough of these things. So I'm going to be planting all these and hopefully over time, I'm going to have lots of these seeds to share as well. So I've got lots of plastic pots that I don't mind if they crack because over the winter, the snow and ice that kind of builds up in the pots might cause them to crack, just like this guy. So fair warning if you're going to do it this way, but if you'd like to do a fall sowing, as long as the ground is not frozen, you can still get them in there before the snow comes. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found the video interesting and helpful. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I'll be doing a whole new series next year just to show you how these plants grow over time and over the whole growing season. Thanks again for watching. Take care and happy holidays.